Welcome, everybody, to the Radical Cruise podcast, where we dig deep to reach high. I am your co-host, Peyron Baxter.
I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval. What's up?
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to tonight's classroom. I think I'm gonna start calling this a classroom, Ram, where people can come and actually learn stuff, raise their hand if they need to, ask a question, go to the bathroom, unannounced, all those types of things. But before we get going, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. All things considered, it's been interesting week. I put little man Gunther to rest on Monday.
Yes,
dog,
how was
for those
that?
Don't know.
Yeah.
That was the first time for me. So he was 17. I was, just out of college when I got him. So, it was a little bit harder. Kind of didn't know what to expect, and the girls and kind of having to adjust as well. But he was older when with the kids anyway, so he wasn't like this. He wasn't his like young rambunctious self, so they were never like best friends. But have a dog and a friend, and so it's sad and kind of leave a void. But he lived a good life, and you see him. I don't know.
No, I understand. I'm sure it's like the house is a lot quieter.
Yeah, we still have another dog, Coco.
Okay.
She's on the older side as well. She's 15, and so in the family, we've had a lot of old dogs over the past few years. So the girls have seen the dogs in the family kind of pass away, and she's fine. She's always been a kind of a little solo to herself. So, but I think she kind of knew what was going on, and he knew what was going on. I think as well. It's very much at peace on the way there. So. So there was that. This week we also had I went out date night here in
yes, date night, very important. Couples need to have date night. No, seriously,
yeah. Which we have not gotten many. We don't get
right.
But we ended up at Supperland in Charlotte, which is Michelin acknowledged, for their Southern cuisine. Really good food, just a great meal all around. So that was really nice. And I had a drink that's got like THC, CBD, which probably was just like the right amount because I can't really like handle much. I'm like,
right.
So it was just a nice little touch, I think. And so we had a good night. And then Saturday, they had the Ice Out for Good protest in Monroe. So I stopped by that. We could talk about that in a second. But what about you? How was your week and weekend?
Yeah, we actually had to take the kids to a few different things, so we didn't get a chance to get out too much on Saturday. But we were able to. I was in Gastonia like half the day, which is like, for folks who don't know, it's about like an hour and 20 minutes outside of where we are currently. And when you drive that far, you don't feel like turning around immediately to come back home. So we had to drive out that way because my mom was out that way. We were dropping our kids off around 12 o'clock, and then we had it kind of an evening to ourselves as a couple. To your point, so you could kind of same day. Yours was going to Supperland, and ours was having supper in the land of Baxter at home. So and that's cool for us. I think we grabbed dinner at a spot at Alley 51. But if you want, let's jump in. So there's been a lot of go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick, shout out to the Bears, Chicago Bears. To them who finally. So I've stopped watching football when Kaepernick. And I stopped watching enough. I don't really watch much college football, but which was about 7 years ago now. And
yeah.
I've seen, a few games here and there, but this year the Bears are doing good, so I kind of jumped on the bandwagon. Watched that game last night. They beat the Packers. Don't like the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I'm not a big Grateful Dead fan myself. I'm a fan, but my dad is the Grateful Dead fan.
He's a deadhead.
He is a deadhead. He's the one who gave me this shirt. So this is when they had the Soldier Field show in, I guess, July 9th, 1995.
All right, now.
But Bob Weir, the founding member of Grateful Dead, passed away today, yesterday. And so It's an ode to him as well, and the Grateful Dead. And but yeah, just get right into it.
And then I'll say one
um,
more thing before we get into that. Actually, we are terrible capitalists on the show. So before we get going on the show, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Radical Roots podcast. This is how we stay independent. This is how we're able to get news right to you, unfiltered. This is how we can get you this information through a channel where we can just talk through a black and brown lens, and of course for the fight for universal human rights. So I just want to make sure we get that out there. Put that barcode up one more time, Rom. Please make sure you take a snapshot of that. If not, we'll put it back at the end of the show. Because we want to make sure that we stay independent and are able to stay afloat financially. It's been some wild times in the world. If you guys could give it a buck or two, it helps us out a lot. It goes a very long way and allows us to stay the voice of truth. Anyway, okay. Now that the capitalistic nonsense is out the way, you were saying.
Yeah, so went to the protests in Monroe Saturday. I would say probably about 75 or 100 people out there. This is one of the protests that they called for after the shooting death of and murder of Renee Good. And I think, I've been out to that protest or Monroe at that location. I think I've seen as many as, 900 folks out there, somewhere between that. And I think, those are the protests that are planned out, weeks or months in advance. The No Kings. But this was one that's a little more spur of the moment, and quite frankly, probably I think I probably actually think it's probably more important. And I think that people do need to mobilize, and I would love to see more sustained protests, kind of around, especially around the Charlotte area and whatnot. But it was good to see people out there protesting. I think I wouldn't call it disappointing, but I say like a lot of. What I really want to see is people who aren't really politically active or engaged to like feel the need to go out there or, know that they go out there. A lot of horn honks, a lot of support, probably more than usual, it seemed like. So that was interesting as well. And I would say even maybe less loud MAGA, assholes, few people with their thumbs down, a couple people flicking us off, and oh, Trump. It's like, okay, we know that you praise another man and you love another man so much you need to shout Trump. Trump. Like
Trump. What? Okay, what?
So when have you ever like shouted like Biden, Obama.
Clinton?
So that in itself is just telling like what these men are thinking about and where they're coming from.
Totally not gay.
Yeah, but so I was out there for a little bit, and I think there was acknowledgement of Keith Porter, who also was killed by an off-duty ICE agent. And then there was Silverio Gonzalez, who was killed in Chicago. And a very similar story they told about him trying to run them over and running away. The cameras disputed that. And so, yeah, I mean, this episode itself is, titled "The Rule of Law is Dead." The Gestapo is here, and Democrats are hiding. So let's jump in.
Yeah, no, man. It's funny. I mean, we're gonna get into Dems in a second, but like I think there was, breakout reaction on the streets, right? We had Minneapolis folks. I think the night of Renee's murder, folks were in the streets of Minneapolis and St. Paul and in the surrounding areas, and I think what we're seeing is kind of an amassing. I was going to ask you at the protest, do you feel the vibe of like, even though I think it was spur of the moment, right? So I guess people couldn't prepare. But then again, Charlotte did stuff the same night, right? Charlotte was Charlotte's more of a more active city. But do you think that this is a moment? That this is like a George Floyd moment? Do you think, from the people on the ground and just what you saw?
It's hard to tell from based off of Monroe. Monroe is historically, I would say, less politically active from a Democratic standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, or at least what you would think of as a moderate
A
Democrat.
pro-human stance.
Yeah, not a Southern Dixiecrat type of thing. So when I look at Charlotte or even Minnesota, Minnesota was ground zero during George Floyd as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Philando Castile.
I do think that the gravity of the situation and the response that this deserves should be on the same level as George Floyd. I think that Minnesota has chops. I think clearly we'll probably go through some videos. There's people continuing to be out there, get in the way, including and especially white folks in this case. And I think that a lot of these protests have been youth led, and especially when there was Black Lives Matter and George Floyd, those were Black youth. Primarily on the front lines. And I think that in this case, the expectation is that, and kind of the expectation that I think a lot of folks have had for the past, nearly 12 months, is that, we need and want to see white folks more involved, especially on the front lines. Those people are more likely to, though they have more privilege that they can expound and use and leverage. But this white woman just got killed. She just got killed. And so she was out there and the blood has been shed. Right. And I think that for a lot of observers in her community and around the country are kind of having a realization real time of like, they just killed this woman, this white woman, and she looks like me, or she looks like my mom, or she looks like my sister, or she looks like my daughter. And I think it's a little more real. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it is for a lot of these groups, is like, that's why that poem exists. First they came for, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of people, unfortunately, I think are so self-centered and focused on themselves that until it hits home, it doesn't really affect them as much. And I think this one hits a little bit closer to home. I still don't know if these people will meet the moment. I don't know. It's hard to say. I can't. I'm an observer from Minnesota. I can't tell. I don't know Minnesota like that, right? So, but I mean, I'll get into my opinions, but that's my observations.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is something that the Black, brown, and indigenous people have been warning about for centuries. That if America, white America, again, not hyphenated, if white America doesn't start, getting their shit together, technically, and undoing some of these systems, that this will eventually land on your doorstep, right? Because if you have a system that allows certain people to be pushed down, then that creates a incentive structure for people to want to be a part of the upper system, and they will then choose to push people down when you stand with the people who are down. So this is something that has been written about countless times, and yes, I think there is a moment where people are waking up like, wow, this could happen to me. This could happen to my wife. I think there was a guy on MS Now, and he was choked up, and that went viral, where he's like, this could be my wife, but he didn't see himself in Sandra Bland, didn't see himself in Breonna Taylor, didn't see himself in Atiana Jefferson. Of course, and I think when you listen to the same show earlier, but like Walz said, let me be honest here, white lives do matter more in this country. Not to me, not to Ram, not to this show, not in reality, but sadly to the broader public, white lives do matter more. And I think we have to then leverage that. Not saying I'm trying to leverage the death of anyone, but we have to leverage people to say, do you see now? Do you see why it is incumbent upon you to start doing the work, start reading, start connecting with people, start building solidarity, start doing mutual aid, start going into communities that do not look like yourself, and listening and learning right? Using your privilege to destroy that privilege. And I do have a clip to kick us off, because there has been a dearth of these MAGA ass hats taken to the oh, yeah, go ahead.
Well, as you get queued up, but
okay.
And I even I texted you when this happened, and they said, well, I don't think that people are going to care enough unless this person's white. Like, that's the reality. Like, that's the God honest truth. And, I mean,
that's right.
I'm keeping it real. I mean, because I knew about Sergio, right? And Sergio, whether or not he was, an American citizen or not, it just didn't get the attention, right? And I know that, with that also being said, that people also, until they see it on a camera, like a video, like, it's not as real. Even though there were some videos of that, but and that's kind of also why documenting and recording all these things are important as well.
Very much so.
That's if George Floyd, if that wasn't caught on camera, the girl, forgetting her name, that recorded 9 minutes of that.
Oh, Darnella Fraser.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about. I think everyone has a role, because I always hate when people are like, well, why are you recording and not helping? And it's like, I don't think people realize like how important it is to actually record and, be an amateur journalist. That is more important than something like, what's that white boy that's going around starting all this shit with his half-assed journalism. They're going to Minnesota and causing
Nick Shirley. The reason for this, right? The blood's on his hands, right? All this has started because of his bullshit journalism that Jefferson Davis Vance said that he deserved a Pulitzer Prize for. But
and so they and it was sorry, but before, like, this is an attack on Minnesota. Like, this isn't like this is just happening organically. They've decided that they're going to target Minnesota through ICE, through CBP, through right-wing influencers. Like, they have made this target. They've targeted Tim Walz because he is the ran for vice president because he's a Democratic governor.
How dare you?
They found some red meat to distract from the Epstein files. So they are going in and actually terrorizing these communities. If ICE wasn't there, if CBP wasn't there, Renee Good would be alive today without a doubt. And that was the first homicide of the year 2026 in Minnesota. And it was committed by an ICE agent. And that is something we need to be thinking about, that the violence is coming from the state. It's not coming from the people.
Right.
This woman is on tape. She said, "I'm not mad at you." That's her final words. And his last words to her as she was dying.
Let's play that, actually, just to give people a refresher, because I think people don't realize how, and then I have a clip after that, but let's just see. You're right. Is this a radicalized domestic terrorist to you folks?
Change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking president. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Whoa!
And of course, with the if you guys didn't hear, her final words in life were, "It's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you." And his final words of that clip were "fucking bitch." And I just want you all to realize that we're at a time where humanity and empathy is at an all-time low. So when people are telling you that certain people are allowed to be harmed and certain people are allowed to be deemed as bad and thugs and terrorists and all these things, this all goes into this. Certain people are stealing from you. Certain people are taking from you, and there's no proof. The only parasitic class is the only people who are harming us are the wealth class, are the billionaires. I thought it was interesting that, you know, when you were at the protest, you know, the three names, right? You have a white woman, you have a black man, and you have a Latino man. All three are Venn diagrams of the system of power, right? Of white supremacy. You got a white woman, but she's not. You got a black man, you got a Latino man, but what's at the top? White men. And one of our most viral clips that we've had on our page, on our social media, is our joint video with Danielle Moody, where she's saying, what's it going to take? Is it going to take white people getting thrown in the streets and getting beat down and shot for this country to change? And I hope that people will get the message that we've never been lying to you, people of color, people who have done this research and scholarly work, but they've been lying to you. They've been doing the biggest lies on you and against you, and they will still lie on you, because that's how the system of white supremacy works, is that you're white and this is only as good as long as you support the system. This is why you can have a Byron Donalds and a Clarence Thomas and a Marco Rubio and a Ted Cruz. If they're in the work of, if they're endeavoring and upholding white male supremacy, then they are good. That being said, our next clip I do want to play is exactly that, right? I posted this earlier today, and we'll talk about it on the backside. But again, this just goes to prove the government will absolutely lie on you. Here we go.
You've also been criticized for your comments. The shooting, we should note, was Wednesday at 10:37 a.m. Eastern. Just over 2 hours later, the Department of Homeland Security put out a statement definitively asserting what had happened, defending the ICE agent, accusing Renee Good of domestic terrorism. That's a characterization that you reiterated in a press conference half an hour later. Now, Republican Senator Tom Tillis said, quote, "It was very unusual to have a senior law enforcement official to draw a conclusion about an event where the scene was still being processed. Generally speaking, law enforcement would recognize that a life was lost, that families are changed forever, the shooter's life will change forever. We're collecting video. We're trying to assess the situation." Why did you not wait for an investigation before making your comments?
Oh, well, everything that I've said has been proven to be factual and the truth. This administration wants to operate in transparency. I have the responsibility as the Secretary of Homeland Security to know this information as soon as possible. Had just been in Minneapolis the day before, had already had conversations with officers on the ground and supervisors, and knew the facts, and decided that the department and the people of this country deserve to know the truth of the situation of what had unfolded in Minneapolis.
But with all due respect, Secretary, the first thing you said was, quote, "What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow." Correct. Because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and rammed them with her vehicle. That's not what happened. We all saw what happened.
It absolutely is what happened. Those officers had been out in enforcement action. A vehicle had been stuck. They had come to help get that vehicle out. That's when this individual started blocking traffic for minutes and minutes.
You said that the woman attacked them and surrounded them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle.
Blocked the road for a long time and was yelling at them and impeding a federal law enforcement investigation. And that's what you need to focus on, Jake, is they were breaking the law by impeding and obstructing a law enforcement operation. They were breaking the law already, and these officers were doing their due diligence and what their training had prepared them to do to make sure they were handling it appropriately.
You said within hours of her being killed, you said that she was a domestic terrorist. How do you define domestic terrorist?
She weaponized her vehicle to conduct an act of violence against a law enforcement officer and the public. They are doing that.
How can you assert with certainty that she was trying to hurt the officer as opposed to she was trying to flee the scene?
If you look at what the definition of domestic terrorism is, it completely fits the situation on the ground.
All right. That's a long clip. I'm sorry about that, folks, but I just wanted to let you know how far they will go to lie on you. Go ahead, Ron.
So I just want to bring this up real quick. Let's see. So I want to remind people Miramar Martinez, also from Chicago, shot 5 times. She survived, thankfully. If she passed away, I'm not quite sure what the reaction would have been. They accused her of ramming their car. Specifically, they said, anyways, this is the damage.
They're gonna lie on you. That's the point. They're gonna lie.
This is the damage. This is the damage to the truck, to the ICE truck. This is the ramming. This is the damage. It said aggressively and erratically pursuing the agent, hitting his car, and they said they tried to box her. She tried to box the man, her and the gentleman she was with. Anyways, the case was dismissed. They tried to say she was a domestic terrorist, and she was trying to kill them, and all this stuff. And so they talk about Kristi Noem saying like all this stuff comes out, and within hours of this happening, they're already saying definitively this is the vice president. You got Kristi Noem and the vice president coming out, as we talked about this Thursday, but coming out and speaking definitively as if they were the investigators, as if they've investigated it. So they're going out. What they're trying to do is get ahead, obviously, with their propaganda, right? And then they want us to like ignore the actual video and see something that didn't actually exist, right? And so just because they say like this propaganda, it doesn't work the same in 2026. It doesn't. Like this is something that maybe worked in 1930. It's a hell of a lot harder in 2026.
Or 2020, right?
Maybe. It's going to rely on doctored videos. There's a doctored video
AI
of her, like they sped it up the video, so it looks like she tried to, hit him, and they make it blurry, so you kind of his pixelated self looks like he's in front of it,
right?
But because of the things you say, it doesn't change the reality. The same thing with the economy. The same thing with healthcare. Just because they're saying these things doesn't change the reality, right? So the propaganda, it's not going to work. It's
yeah, no, and again, to that Kristi Noem video, like this is the extent they have to go to. These are people who are unmoored from reality, right? This is a policy. This is not even a policy. This is just a move, a power move. This is for the love of the fucking game, right? These people don't give a shit. All they want is power. All they want is these black and brown people out of here because they feel insecure. They feel like, and what that man did when she looked at him and said, "It's fine, dude," it was, how dare you? How dare you try to impede my manly work? How dare you with just your whistle? And her wife said, "We had whistles, they had guns." And it's like this whole idea.
They're out here like they're in their bulletproof vest with all these fucking gears and gadgets. They've got every single tool and every single modification on their guns. They're out there. And for who are they arresting? Who are they arresting? Like they're not even arresting.
The worst of the worst, right? The worst of the worst is that's the goal.
Like they're propaganda. They send camera people out there. They tell these people. They tell their agents to record the CBP, because it's not just ICE, it's CBP. They tell them to use your personal cell phone cameras because you don't have body cam. Use it to create, so they can create viral videos.
And the reason the propaganda falls through is because even their intended targets, like the whole point of this, right? Let's go back. It's all racism. It's all white supremacy. The point of this was to protect white women specifically from those black and brown people who want to kill you. Now this agency is actively killing white women and they don't know what to do. So they're spinning out of control. And that white woman, what they have to do is then create a separation between whiteness, why a white male conservative, that's what conservative means, conserving white male power. They have to put separation between Renee Good and that power structure. So what do? She has pronouns in her bios. She's a poet, meaning that she may be unemployed, and that she has a lesbian wife. These are all things that you would not see in your Christian church. And it's allowing people to have that mental separation.
Yeah, and she does not have an activist profile, like a super activist profile. I mean, she's not.
And if she did,
I'm just saying, but like they can't even exactly. So like, if if she was at Indivisible, or if she was involved in like party politics. And so when it is, and they're going to, because that's what they're looking for, because they need an Antifa connection. They need some sort of connection so that they can come down on everybody. And when they like, they would love to kill my ass.
That's
right?
the point.
Like, they would love to kill your ass, right?
Right.
You know, this dreadhead, you know, Democratic chair.
Oh yeah.
With a radical roots.
He looks just like the guy that killed the girl on the train. Remember that?
You know, so
like the Robert Burns 2 post. It was the post of the Charlotte guy and then me. He's like, so look, he's coming for me too. These blacks with the locks.
So this here's the thing. So Minnesota this is what has to happen. Minnesota has to press charges. Minnesota must press charges. And I don't care how they get it done, but they have, to me, look, from my perspective, from my you know, I'm not going to pretend I'm a legal expert like Stephen A. Smith. You're not?
Come on. Oh, that's good point. Good point.
But, you know,
good point.
I've seen enough evidence to be like, okay, we can take this in for questioning.
You watched enough Law and Order.
I don't
enough
know about
suits.
that either. I mean, but no, they absolutely. I mean, they've been iced out of the investigation. So FBI is not including the Minnesota investigative bodies, right? So, but the Minnesota Attorney General needs to bring charges, and whether or not they, you know, I don't know how they're going to bring this man in there, but they have. If there's no accountability at the state level now in this moment, there will never be. This is a Democratic state that has a Democratic governor with a Democratic Attorney General, a Democratic mayor. And they have, I believe, viable charges against this man, whether it's manslaughter or murder, right? And so, if they do not do anything, that's the ball game. That's it.
Murder. I mean,
that's it. I know it's
a lighter charge, but like, god damn, if he got manslaughter and says "fucking bitch," like, yo, I mean, we're already in the upside down.
It's pre. I mean, it's to me. It's
because he switched hands and his gun was unholstered before she even hit the accelerator.
He's holding his cell phone the entire time.
Right.
He's holding his cell phone the entire time. So, and here's what's crazy to me. Like, I'm like, oh damn, somebody must have leaked it. I didn't know that the Vance posted it thinking it was absolving this man of a crime. I looked at that and I was like, oh my gosh, like they leaked this? I was like, how did they get this? That's crazy. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy to me,
guys,
that you can look at that video and be like, yeah, she tried to run him over. Yeah, like she
used her vehicle to try to hit that federal officer. Guys,
as he circled her car, as he walked in front of the car, as he used his cell phone, as he shot her with one hand, as he literally had the phone up as her dead body is driving into a car and crashes. He's still holding a camera for a viral moment that they've been instructed to do. So not only does he need to have charges, but the charges need to come down on everybody who has actively tried to hide this. Everybody who went out there and told them you need to create viral videos on your phone because you don't have body cams, right? Because that's illegal too. Everyone who said you're going to go after agitators instead of focusing on immigrants, now they're focusing on agitators. That's not your fucking job. That's not your jurisdiction, right?
You know what's wild though is like at the end of the day, ICE at its honest form would be a administrative job. It's a desk job, right? Because being in America, undocumented is a civil offense.
Yep.
So this whole, I mean, even just the notion of us needing this is fucking ridiculous. And I think we played last week Chuck Schumer. I think we played when Christian was on, Chuck Schumer being asked about this. But there's you got a point. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm transitioning.
I was just gonna say, but to your point, to your point, which makes sense, right? Like, if there are criminals, and you know there are criminals, then they should logically be arrested by local authorities, FBI, ATP, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, these are also immigrants. Okay, let's loop in immigrations and custom enforcement. Right. And then get them out the country. Right. Like, why are these people going, like,
fully
if you know they're at the jail, exactly. Why are you fully armed to the teeth?
Right.
for people. So the jig is up. Like, if you still think so, this goes to Mayor Frey, this goes to the Alyssa Slotkins, this goes to Chuck Schumer's and the Hakeem Jeffries and all these mealy mouth, weak, impotent Democrats. And I know you're.
No. I was gonna say, like, to add to your point, there's a mayor to the city right next to Minneapolis, who she's the new mayor, and she took to the mic, I think right before we started recording, or earlier today, and there was ICE activity in her city. I think it's maybe St. Paul. It's the Twin Cities, right? So it's Minneapolis and St. Paul. Yes. Her last name is Han or Har or something like that. She's an Asian lady, and she's almost crying on the mic, Rom. It's like, and I didn't get what the video was about until like someone came in from Minneapolis, like, let me tell you what this video is about, and it's her with no answers to the people who at this town hall earlier tonight saying, where is the police chief? We want to talk to him about ICE activity and how they've been abusing us and brutalizing us in the city. The reason why she said that the chief of police could not come to this event, you'll be shocked to find out, is because he's under investigation for helping ICE brutalize people. We are at a point where the federal, state, where the local government is at odds with either trying to stop and mitigate the federal government, or they're actively complicit with the reality coming from the federal government, right? Or the third bonus option is what the mayor of St. Paul, of Minneapolis, Frey, said, is that, yeah, we could stop them. We could use our police force, but they have bigger guns. Now, again, I talk about that white cowardice a lot on this show. That is coming out institutionally.
And it's not even like, I mean, I'm not even asking them to put the cops in between them. I mean, is there a valid argument? Yeah, they're prepared to protect and serve the people of the city.
These are your
However,
citizens.
These people can't even purse their lips to say that ICE needs to be abolished. These people are.
That's what I'm going to get to. Yeah,
this is like Josh Stein.
Let's play the clip. Okay. Let's play the clip, and then we'll get into. You're right where I'm at, brother. No, because because this is the next one. Is what is the quote unquote opposition going to say? So here is our favorite. Oh, we love her on this show, Alyssa Slotkin, on 2 shows, really giving us the hard hitting answers that we're all looking for from the Democratic Party leadership.
Administration, from Kristi Noem to Donald Trump to Stephen Miller, have described her as a, quote, domestic terrorist. The video doesn't really align with their description of events, but I wonder if you've been briefed as a member of the Homeland Security Committee.
To be honest, I mean, I have been warning about this kind of thing for a long time. When you put law enforcement or uniformed military on the streets of American cities in this level, mistakes are going to happen. Lack of training, you're going to have a lot of new people on the streets there, and then you create a cycle of escalation that's hard to contain. And I think I'm concerned that that's what we're seeing now in Minneapolis. So I'd ask everyone to take a breath.
The ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis, it's going to force every Democrat who wants to run for president in 2028 to answer some version of this question. Some progressives wanted to abolish ICE. What would you say to any of conversation in light of the events?
You need law enforcement. You do. I'm sorry. And whether you're using them correctly, that's a whole other conversation. But again, I wasn't for abolishing the police when that became a popular talking point, and I'm not for abolishing law enforcement now.
Never forget, our biggest traitors are white women. Go ahead, Ron.
They're not law enforcement.
They're not law enforcement.
And so also this is a very easy topic to navigate. The ICE, because CBP, they could maybe even argue CBP. I don't think they can personally. I think CBP is worse because they're more organized and more brutal. But if ICE, an organization, is compromised so much that it's so corrupt that their mission is gone, just say that, like, it's compromised. It cannot be fixed. We will abolish ICE, and we will look into how we can properly enforce immigration law in America. How we can, that's it. Period. Stop. Like, they just increased their funding by $75 billion.
A gajillion dollars.
It's such an easy, like, right. It's such an easy way to, you could stay centrist and still be like, abolish ICE.
The centrist point at this point is to abolish ICE. That is the centrist perspective. Yes. I said, why do I say that? Because a lot of people, a lot of the Democratic establishment people, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, you know, these people who I wouldn't consider bleeding liberals. They're not, you know, rainbow haired, septum pierced, you know, tatted up the wazoo, you know, Black Lives Matter, you know, people. The No Kings protest, which is led by Ezra Levin, his position. So the same No Kings protest that has all these liberals that are, you know, do we have our permits and all this shit? He said the moderate position, and what he's going to do is amplify that we need to abolish ICE. It's politically valuable, right, to be able to say abolish ICE, right? Like, we are at a moment where people, white women, let's be honest here. Again, we said earlier, white lives matter more in this in the social construct of the United States of America. We just got to be honest about that. I mean, we have, I don't know, 400 plus years of experience, but like, yeah, they do to you guys. But we're at a certain point where we have masked thugs going into schools, going into businesses, going into homes, murdering white people on the street, 3 to the head like a bowling ball, and then calling you a fucking bitch. If that doesn't make your blood boil as a white person, I don't know what to tell you, because that makes my blood boil, because I didn't want that to happen. Hence why Black people had the highest amount to reject this shit. Now, what I'm going into here is, though, it makes sense for Democrats to be able to say this, to your point, Rom, this organization has it's went way above, went way over its skis. It's now a liability to the American population. I put my hand on the Bible and swore an oath to the Constitution to make sure that I will protect people at home and abroad. I mean, all this shit that people like to hear. But you got to be about it.
Yeah, it's the thing about it is, you know, you hear Mayor Frey, you hear our governor Josh Stein, you hear these people, and they say, well, if ICE was doing what they were supposed to, and you know, it's this, they're not. It's not. Why do they have a 75? Why did their budget go from 10 million a year and then they're adding 75 billion over the next few years? Why? Because why are they now tricking them out in more military grade gear? Why are they being more and more ruthless? Why, after they killed Renee Good, are they now being more doing more assaulting of the people on the ground in Minnesota? Why? What in what world? And this is why we talked about on Thursday, where I disagree with Christy, especially thinking about it more. She said, "Well, you know, we were talking about Roy Cooper, who's running for Senate here, and he has no stance on on
anything
to his website. Right. But like, if he's not going to say ICE should be abolished, like, and he said, well, you know, hold him to it after the election. But like, I mean, I said, well, like, she said, well, why don't you camp outside of his house? And I said, but this is the issue. This isn't like, we talked about this last year. Several times we talked about ICE, and we said when Governor Gavin Newsom, oh, ICE this is a distraction. This is a distraction. No, this is and then they came into California, and then, you know, started trying to start shit in Los Angeles, and we've seen it all over the country. And they've moved on and escalated to killing people, but they've been shooting people. They've been people dying in custody, and this is only going to increase. So this is like the issue. And for the Chuck Schumers and the Hakeem Jeffries, the other issue is the Epstein files, which y'all don't talk about either. Y'all don't even push that. So like, y'all are still talking about, well, I sent a strongly worded letter on affordability and healthcare. We had you by the balls, but we decided to let go and give away that fight when we could have
take your balls back.
So what are y'all like? What like? It's not that hard to argue that these people are not. ICE has never been a legitimate agency. No one looked at.
Look. I'm gonna say something real quick here. ICE is not some shit that's been around for hundreds of years. Fucking Shrek is older than ICE. Okay. I have Outkast albums older than Shrek. I mean, older than ICE, right? So like, this idea that, you know, ICE has been around since the beginning, because before that it was the Immigration and Naturalization Services, INS. That's what it was. And then we got 9/11, and then in 2003 we got ICE, and then this is where a lot of Muslims and Arab people who were here in America were like, guys, be careful, this can become a loaded weapon back towards you. And now we're sitting here seeing literally the loaded weapon unload in the skull, in the face of people like Renee Good. But I'm just going to share the screen here. This is the problem that we have to deal with. I'm going to share this right here.
ICE doesn't stop crime. ICE doesn't prevent crime.
Folks,
ICE is not going to give us any net benefit as Americans of this.
Right. This, what I have on the screen is 75 Democrats who expressed gratitude for ICE.
Pathetic.
This shit here should make your blood boil. Because this was last year when ICE was ramping up. And what it is Democrats are feeling like, man, you know, if we don't do this, we're going to look weak. You already look weak because you don't stand for anything. You already don't have the principle. There was a Democrat that was caught on background saying like, well, yeah, if we don't support the whole Maduro thing, we're going to look weak. Stand on business. We know you don't have the votes in the House and the votes in the Senate, but don't use that time to then align with the fascist party. So now we have 75 Democrats on record who are sitting here, who are aligned with the masked up, door-to-door, Renee Good, Keith Porter killing Nazi brigade. And look at this list, and it's on Nina Turner Ohio's page. And if there's any of your local state folks here, give them a call. I said at the very top we have Alma Adams, who is I know Alma Adams. I've met her several times. She's at the top of the list.
Swalwell, who's now this week, talking about Disney princess ears.
Yeah, give me a break.
It's like these people. Do they have foresight? Like, do they have judgment? They don't have principles. They don't have seriously. Like, all of this stuff is predictable.
Don Davis.
If you and I can sit here, and we're not some prophets, right? But if you and I can sit here and just see what the things for the way they are, there's other people that are out there that.
Do you know who wouldn't be on that list? They're not in Congress.
I don't know.
Cory Booker and Jamal Bowman. And when we talk about, and this is why I was telling my mother, she was at our house earlier today. They were in Congress and they were pushed out when they ran for re-election due to what? AIPAC money. And when we were warning about the same people who were anti-genocide Palestinians and people that follow international and national history and we talk about the imperial boomerang on this show specifically, that what you do outside these borders of this country will come back to harm you. I guarantee you the same people who were progressive on issues like Palestine actively would not have been on that list. And on top of that, they would have been voting for things that were more progressive, like Medicare for all, and all these the sort of things that people are looking for, right? The Green New Deal, right? So it's not just the Palestine issue. You actually push more progressive people out that would have fought for other things that have been more progressive, and all you have left now is those 75 people.
And these are all, and also and the cherry on top is that these law enforcement agencies and ICE are trained by IDF. Some of the thing about this,
the news,
the same tactics.
Before we went on today, the ICE page is now saying you can recruit from the ex-IOF agents. So when we talk about these things coming home to roost, and people, it's soft. We can't. You're anti-black for saying Kamala Harris. What we're saying though is black people doing the work of white supremacy or any supremacist movement will harm you. Oh, we got some. Hold on, we got some folks in the chat here. Let's my chat went away. Okay, we got Zeta's online. The first one here. We got Zeta's online. Checked in from St. Paul, Minnesota. Awful situation. Reps need to recognize the moment because this liberal wish-wash is not it. Thanks for working. Appreciate you as well. Zeta's online. But yeah, straight up, there's no way you can be middle of the road here. It's either and this is the dichotomy, Ron.
And we're not some anti-democratic. You were the Democratic chair of the Union County.
I was
Democrats, right?
At this point, I also realized why I didn't run for re-election. I realized the Democratic Party, locally and statewide and federally, is not ready for this moment. They don't have any moral clarity. It's just a bunch of feel good, let's hug and high five and thumbs up while people are being shot in the fucking face. But this is the dichotomy we have, Ron. We have on one side, if you do get out the car, you go to a concentration camp. If you don't get out the car, you get shot in the head. That is an untenable political situation to try to thread the needle for the Star Wars Galactic Senator Alyssa Slotkin herself to say, we need it. It's law enforcement. This is her trying to force something into reality that does not exist. Anyway, she has Zed is online.
Almost about to say, yeah.
I was going to read the second one here. We don't need more trained agents. Jonathan Ross was a firearms instructor. What firearm instructor? What the fuck? We don't need ICE here. We don't need them at all. Couldn't agree more. Jonathan Ross is an Iraq War veteran and 11-year ICE officer. So it's not that they need more training or he's too junior. And then to her point, he's a firearms. He wanted to murder her. And we have people like this who call women fucking bitches after they fucking kill them. Because if he wouldn't have shot her that night, he would have went home and became the next family annihilator. If you folks don't know what a family annihilator is, it is a term almost 100% reserved for white men who commit murder and they kill their whole family, their wives, their children, the dog, and then themselves. And these are people who have unprocessed emotions. They lack, they have a very myopic view of the world, that they believe in their patriarchal view of dominance of other people. And this is who these people are. And then the last thing I'll say, and I'll throw it to you, Ron, is that these people came to find out they can't even damn read. There's an ICE agent, there's someone within ICE saying they're failing open book tests. They cannot run the mile in, 48 minutes. They can't do, they've changed sprinting or the run requirement to sit-ups and push-ups. They've lowered the age from 21 to 18 and then raised the ceiling from 45 to 65. They don't have the muscle, folks. And in any sort of violent regime that wants to control you, when it looks like that they're doing great, that's actually when they're the weakest, and that's what we're seeing.
And look, they can even point to the DHS's marketing of white nationalist language, Nazi style propaganda, protect our homeland, save the homeland, all of this. They're playing it to the music of the same music that white supremacists used before they went and killed on a murder spree. So, it's so easy to do, and they're not doing it. This is the litmus test for, and especially if there's a primary right now. There's a primary, and whether it's Israel, whether it's ICE, whatever, because to me, it's the same thing. Because if you're allowing this to happen to Palestinians, then you're allowing it. You're excusing it, right? This is why this is why all of our revolutionaries have always talked about Palestine, black revolutionaries, right?
That's true.
And so you
sound very anti-black right now, Rom. Just so you know, saying all that shit. You're anti-black. You sound very anti-black.
The FBA is the foundationals.
You're going to get Jasmine Crockett right now, Rom.
Look, you know what? Yeah, okay. So, anyways, the time is now. Criticize these people. I don't know. In November, what's his name? Roy Cooper does need to think that I might not vote for him because he's not going to stand up for what is the most important issue in our time. I'm sorry, but education, healthcare, all that shit's gone. That's not even, that used to be, education used to be my most important issue. What education?
It still is important, right?
It's still important, but I'm not looking to the federal government to do anything about that. If not this, quote unquote saving democracy, which is also gone out the window.
Come on.
But then what? Because this whole thing's coming down, but we can't let it come down with a Gestapo.
Look at this shit. Hold on. Look, this is a short one. Look at these fucking assholes. Look at this one here.
Shame on you.
Listen. Have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone.
I mean, these are the type of men they have. These insecure piece of shit white men who are incompetent, they're insecure, they're not full of themselves, and they need the warmth of other insecure men. and they just want to dominate people. They want to dominate people of color. They want to dominate women. They want to dominate queer people. They want to dominate trans. I mean, it's like, damn, dog, why don't you go to fucking therapy?
Yeah. Got a couple comments here.
What we got?
Failure of Imagination, Clockwork Orange, Kurt Vonnegut, anyone?
That's right. That's right. That's right. We got another here. Who's we got here? Got
Fellow Deadhead, Wisconsin.
Nice.
Another Reason to Mourn.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Bob,
I don't see a democracy. 100%.
And here's the thing: is like I think we've always, and some of us have maybe realized sooner in life, hey, we're not really a democracy. Like it's been a hell of a facade. And then you realize, damn, I guess Native Americans or the indigenous people to this land and Black people really have been living under fascism for pretty much the entirety of the America's existence, right? So when you put it into context and you understand from that perspective, and now not even you can't even you're trying to pit the races against each other, and you can't really do that anymore. That's crumbling down. It's all a distraction. So. And it's the billionaires, man. Like there was a when I was out there at the protest yesterday. I didn't have a sign to come empty-handed, but I got my sign from a gentleman who had about 10 signs I got to choose from. But the only minority destroying America are the billionaires, and that's it.
Period.
That's it. There's nothing out of what's happening today with this ICE and banging heads and locking up brown immigrants, brown people, harassing brown and Black, anyone with an accent, and it's weird we never see like them harassing Ukrainians or Russians and going into those.
Well, they did kill a Ukrainian last year.
They did in custody. They killed a lot of people in custody, like 52 last year, right? But there's no net benefit. So like even if you're MAGA, like what do you gain out of this? What did you say? I voted for this. Like
it's ironic.
You voted for the brutality.
I saw a guy. I saw a guy talking about his dad that's MAGA, and they were on a car ride, and he was talking about. He's like, I realize how they think, and I'm sure people like me and you have understood this for a long time. But this is a white man, and he was like, and we're on this car ride. It's a long trip. And the topic of the California wildfires come up, and his dad giggles, libs or some shit like that. He's like, in that moment, I realized my dad didn't. He's like, he didn't realize I live in California, and this all is a game to them. And it's like the liberals are not real people. Like they're people out there, right? They're not human beings. They're not their fellow citizens. They're people to want. They're people to make cry. They're people to whatever happens to them is what it is.
And protesters aren't real. They're all paid. Everyone's
all paid by Soros. Like, but this is why they hate things like cities. This is why they hate things like people going to college, because when you meet people that you've been told your whole life aren't human beings, that are the devil's blood themselves, that are the curse of Ham, or that are these uppity women are killing babies, whatever the fuck it is. Like at a certain, you go to college, and it's not that it's the education. The education of college does not radicalize you. It is the experience of college. The same thing you get at a college, the same thing you get in a large city. Yes, do things move slower in a city? But why? It's because of collaboration. It's because, my constituency. Ooh, can get that word out. Over here, they need this. Yours needs that. Okay, but we only have X amount in the budget. Let's work together. In our county, Union County, it's all ran by Republicans, and they still blame the left. They still blame radicals. They still blame. They're ruining it. Every pothole, every stoplight that doesn't work, every school that is failing, every time it's on the news for them putting up, was it prison doors in Monroe High School, that is all done at the behest of Republicans. And when I say Republicans, it is a white male-led thing. They want to conserve white male power. And when we talk about white supremacy, we have to understand that the Republican Party is not a political party, but rather it is a vehicle, a dime store front for a white power movement.
Yeah. And then so when they talk about their culture, like to me, the extent of white culture is what you just said, like the white male And when you look at it, if you wanted to say white culture in America, it's literally violence. It's literally
oppression, murder, rape.
When you talk about, like I said, when you talk
slavery
culture, when you talk about hyphenated American culture, German American, Italian American, I understand that Irish American, when you talk about American culture, I think of diversity. I think of you call it assimilation, but melting pot, right?
Yeah. Right.
So if I go to Charlotte, it's a diverse area. You can do different things, different types of music. It gives me life.
It's not a melting pot.
Minutes,
it's a chopped salad, right? It's you need all the pieces to come together to where it's you got the tomatoes and the onions. It's not all one flavor, right? That's what they want. They want the homogeneity.
Yeah, but the best things in America are a culmination of these things intersecting, right? So
this comment here is good too. It's funny. I saw a conservative talk about this. He said she says open minds are dangerous. Bridget Berner, 9742. This same conservative guy said, there's a woman who grew up in Austin with conservative parents, and she's talking about how closed-minded she was until she went to college. She said her father used to tell her, because what do we say about open minds? Oh, you tell your daughters have an open mind, right? You tell your wife have an open mind. You tell yourself have an open mind. I never heard this until last night. I was like, damn, this cult goes thick with these white folks. She said her father would tell her, having an open mind allows your brain to fall out. I was like, what? Oh, dude. Having an open mind allows your brain to fall out. So it's nuts. Bridget, you're right. Yeah. Open minds are dangerous to them. So go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, it is. It is dangerous. Free thought is dangerous to them. I want to show the clip from that. So I was at a protest yesterday, but I want to show the clip that happened in that same square.
Okay.
After Charlie Kirk's, I want to remind people of what's happening in this country.
We are Charlie Kirk. There's no sound, but if you guys remember, Rom, we put this video up, and how many likes it's got now? There's no sound. Can you hear me? I don't know. Can y'all hear in the chat?
Can you hear it?
No.
Oh, you can't hear it. Okay, hold on. Let me start it over. I'm sorry. I thought you could hear it. 1 second. There we go.
We are Charlie Kirk.
There we go. All right, let's try this one more time.
Foremost, because of that man right over there in the Freedom Shirt and the Rain camera, that is our mayor, Rob Burns. We cannot have unity with people who want to kill us, and we cannot make peace with wickedness. The Democrat Party has been captured by a wicked and demonic ideology and evil, and we cannot make peace with that. We should expect and even demand our elected representatives at the local, state, and federal level to do what they can to drive this wickedness out of our public squares so that we can live in peace again. And let me quote to you today with Stephen Miller. Y'all know who Stephen Miller is. I love Stephen Miller. I'm so glad that guy's in the White House. This is what he said today. He said, there is a vast domestic terror movement, and with God as my witness, we're going to use every resource we have throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks, and we will do it in Charlie's name. I know, because I've talked to a lot of Christians about politics, that Christians don't often think like that when it comes to politics, but I'm telling you to know what time it is. And if you're a Christian, I don't think you should say anything else to what Stephen said other than, amen, get it done. Everybody look behind you. Look behind you here. What does that say? In God we trust. In God we trust. And which God is that, brothers and sisters? It's not some vague God. It's not the Hindu God. It's not the Buddhist God. That's not Muhammad. That is the one true triune God who made this world, who calls you today to repent and believe and be made right with him through his Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. We must unapologetically work to make America Christian again. Because if we want to make America great again, there is no way we do it without making America Christian again. And
all right, so
my God.
So he's from the Heritage Foundation. He's local here to Monroe, and he was invited by Mayor
Robert
Burns of Monroe. And if you look at this guy's Twitter, I mean, this guy's the epitome of white nationalists. It's no doubt about it. But this is the type of this is what ICE is enacting. This is what the DHS. This is the
and this video was
messaging.
From right after Charlie Kirk was. Just so you guys know the timestamp. Sorry, I just want to let people know it wasn't. That's not a recent video.
And this is a city that has KKK history.
Yep.
This is the city where the Freedom Bus traveled through. This is
James Baldwin.
There's a lot of history. Yeah. This is, to me, and somebody kind of they said that North Carolina was kind of the battleground, but I mean, to be honest, like Monroe, this area, the South, I'm like, it's kind of scary when you think about what's potentially on the horizon or what's likely on the horizon. So
no, it's a mirror. That's what all this stuff is. It's a mirror. It is telling us who we are, right? And all of this shit. I just want you guys to understand something. I know we're kind of over time, and I just want you all to understand something. What you just saw there was a Klan rally sans the hoods, and every single atrocity in human history was supposedly ordained by God, according to those in power, right? Whether it be the genocide of the indigenous people, whether it be chattel slavery for a quarter of a millennia, whether it be legalized apartheid for 100 years, whether it be Japanese internment camps, whether it be the war on drugs, whether it be, insert, whether it be the war on terror, right? God will steady the hand of America, according to George W. Bush. But this is a movement that is actively trying to pull us back to the 50s, and I don't mean the 1950s, but the 1850s. And we're kind of at this crossroads where some people think it's about policy and some people think it's about culture. And I think what it is America has a cultural problem first and a political problem second, right? Like in that order, right? And they use the first to be able to drive the second, right? The cultural problem is it's unequal. And then you hear people say things, let's have the protest be peaceful, as if you are the one bringing violence. Violence is currently present. Violence is present. And I tell people all the time, I am against violence. But the thing is, violence is currently monopolized by the state against the people. So you have to protect yourself. If the state is unwilling to protect you, you must protect yourself. These are quite, and honestly, I'm gonna let y'all in a little bit. These are the conversations Black people have been having for hundreds of years. This is why the Black Panthers organized and they were armed. So a lot of folks don't know Martin Luther King was armed. SNCC was armed. Stokely Carmichael, later Kwame Ture said they were always armed, right? Malcolm X, by any means necessary. The Chicano movement were always armed, right? Indigenous people had arrows and guns. Don't forget that stuff. But they want you to believe that the concept of protecting yourself, the state actually takes away your ability to protect yourself. All the things that we have, right? The right to free speech, the right to protect yourself, the right to assembly, all those things existed before this country existed. It wasn't until the state existed, and then we became atomized, and then you didn't have access to assemble. You have to ask for freedom. And what I said on something on Facebook, if you have to ask for freedom, you have to ask to use your freedom, you don't have freedom. If you have to ask, oh, can I use my right to talk to you, or to say, no, I don't like this and I don't want to be harmed, you have the right to self-defense. What I mean by that is you were born a sovereign human being on this planet, right? But because before the United States existed, if I punch Rom in the face, he had it's not the right, but he's a sovereign person to punch me back. We talk about decolonizing. This this is a perfect example of how those people in that video are trapped in a colonial mind, a colonial fiefdom that they cannot escape. Go ahead, Ron. We've got a lot of.
I was saying the irony of it is that these are the people wearing freedom shirts.
Yes,
talking about freedom. Yet they don't want freedom. They want They want the freedom for everyone to look just like them, look and sound just like them.
Right. And what I tell people are like, they're not Christians or not. They are Christians. They're absolutely Christians. The same Christians that went to the Golden Coast, took my ancestors. The same Christians that came here and genocided people. The same Christians, the same thing I just listed. They're all Christians. Now, the difference is, folks, and this is how the trick bag to play on a lot of us who are not white men. These people hate Jesus. They hate the teachings of Jesus, but they love Old Testament God, right? Jesus was for the oppressed, he was vulnerable. He was for the folks that didn't have it. He was with the prostitutes. He flipped over the tables with the money changers, right? But they love Old Testament God, right? Fire and brimstone, judgment, smiting, and the ability to just be sky daddy, right? This is a very patriarchal, male-centered thing. So when they say we love Jesus, they actually hate Jesus, but they love God. They love the concept of a very, judgmental, because that's how they are. So, and then when we say stuff like, well, especially in the Black community, we say stuff like, love your neighbor as you love thyself. They actively are. Talk to your neighbor the way you talk to yourself. They are. They hate themselves. Right? So if I hate myself and I say I'm stupid, I'm not good enough. Ron played that clip. I don't know if it's maybe after we were off air last time. They're trying to get folks to join ICE, and they're like, "Don't you hate being a piece of shit? Don't you hate being a?"
It was at the end. We played it.
Okay. So again, but these are people who already talk down on themselves. So when we say, "Why are you not being kind to women? Why are you not being kind to the poor? Why are you not being kind to marginalized groups?" It's because they don't talk kindly to themselves. Yeah. That's what this is.
So, like I said, Minnesota needs to absolutely press charges, figure out what they need to do. This is it. This is the only shred of accountability, especially in Democratic states, because they have, JD Vance says that they have absolute immunity. They have that, which extends to the federal level, right? So it's up to the states. They've already proven that they will pardon the January 6ers. They've given
they got jobs now.
Reparations to Ashley Babbitt. Yeah, they're running for Congress. They're joining ICE.
They're in ICE. Right.
Jonathan Ross. They're not going to hold him accountable. No. So if there's no justice and accountability,
did you see his GoFundMe has $150,000?
That's crazy. I'm not surprised. I mean, they gave a woman, $1 million for calling a baby a nigger, right? So what are we talking about here? So these are the people that's like, you can't negotiate morality with them, right? You can't. Right. So like, we're not trying to appeal to them. So we have to be talking to the Roy Coopers and the Mayor Frays and the Josh Steins of like, what are you going to do? Hello, in Minnesota, why are you going to press charges? Because if there's no accountability at the state level, then there's no accountability everywhere. That means there's no justice. That means that the justice is going to be into the hands of the people. And I don't think anyone wants that. No. Because if it's not in the justice of the justice system, then it's only left to the people. And I don't think anyone wants that. Right. No. And so all this immunity that gets thrown around and say like, and so in a state like a Tennessee, especially where the legislature is passing laws to make sure that the police at the city, the state levels work with ICE, and in Texas where they, have the boots, they're licking the boots in their mouth with the cowboy boots. Those states are going to be pardoning and excusing anyone who commits violence in the name of MAGA and Donald Trump. Right. And so there will be no accountability. Right. So they're going to start killing people with immunity. Basically, what's been signaled to J6ers and all of these people is that, like, yeah, if you commit violence on my behalf, I got you.
Yeah, I got you. And this is how you should treat these fucking assholes. Check this out. This is in Minneapolis.
Fucking bum, you're a bitch. And if your wife is, I'll probably fuck her too. You guys are all bitches. You can't do shit to me. You can't do a thing. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. Nobody fucking wants you here. Right, get the fuck out. Walk the fuck out, you stupid bitches. Get the fuck out of here. You dumb, the fuck out of here. You fucking coward. You're a fucking coward, bitch. You're a fucking bitch. Hold on, baby, I'm on the phone to you, bitch ass nigga. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, you stupid bitches. You're a fucking coward piece of shit. Fuck you. And if you didn't have a gun or a badge, I would beat the shit out of you. Take that fucking badge off.
Oh man. All right. I'm not gonna lie. I was hyped because I thought it was a white man. Like, listen. I'm sorry. You know what? I love it, but I love the energy. I love the white. Shout out to the white woman. It got hers in. But I'm serious. I'm so, like I said this last week before this even happened. Like I need men to step up, but also especially need the white men in their privilege to step the fuck up, because this is it. This is it. So if you're watching, if you are listening to us right now and you got a husband, and if he's a Republican, you need to slap some fucking sense into him or divorce him. If he's
poison
not,
him.
and he's over there watching. There's no
Fox
football
News.
tonight, the football game, but Sunday Night Football, and he's not out there joining you, or he's not with it. He needs to be out there like doing something, because look, this is it. This is it. This is the line between like I said, if there's a national strike, a general strike, like this is the last line of non-violence that you want to see. Non-violence. Because, like you said, the violence is here. They bought it to our doorstep. They said they're going to go door to door like a fucking Gestapo. So the violence that they're bringing is going to be met with violence. There is going to be more violence. So if you do not want to see violence and everywhere spilled over, and I don't have a lot of faith, they let all those kids get killed in Sandy Hook, and they didn't do anything. So I don't know if a white woman's going to do the trick.
Yeah,
I don't.
You're right. I mean, we went through with the white woman, black man, Latino man. But this I'm gonna flip this clip here. Someone says Democrats are diet fascists, and I'm sure that's gonna irritate a lot of people. They're like, oh my God, now. But if you look at the funding of ICE, we look at the votes that we went over. We talk about a captured minority, a captured opposition, excuse me, where they never have enough votes when they have a trifecta. They have the White House, the Congress, and the Senate. They never have enough votes to codify the Roe v. Wade. They never have enough votes to codify the Voting Rights Act. They never have enough votes to codify same-sex marriage, or you name it. But they always have enough to break away. Just enough to vote for more money for Israel. They have enough money to break away for more money for ICE, or to reopen the government, or to let the subsidies to fall apart. So
and this is January 2026, meaning we've had a year to observe how the Democrats react and how they move. So this is we're well within our rights of saying that this isn't hyperbole. This isn't. I mean, you could, like you said, you could argue, that they are enablers, or at least they're
complicit.
The past.
They are complicit. Like, I mean, I'm not.
But this is worse than complicity, because they don't offer anything. They don't even offer status quo. They don't offer peace. They don't offer order. Quo. They don't. No, they don't. They don't anymore. They don't. That's gone. Status quo was at least. Hey, status quo was at least we could live in thinking that, like, they were doing something for us. Now we're in a state of like they can't even.
That's what I'm
order.
saying. I'm agreeing with you. That is the status. Yeah. The status quo is this. The veil has fallen.
Yes,
that's the problem. So, and we have to be able to look at what it is, because I am now partisan towards humanity. You think is you're not a Democrat, same way Trump is not a Republican, same way, honestly, no one's a Republican, no one's a Democrat. You're a person. You're a person that lives somewhere. You're a person that loves. You're a person that needs water, food, shelter, and clothing, and medicine, and care, and love, and the ability to dream, the ability to have dreams and ambitions. That is what you are. You are not a Democrat or Republican. We are taught to be in these binary, are you blue, you red? In reality, we're all an empire. And it sounds like both me and you listened to the same show earlier, but I want to play this clip, and I posted it on the social media. It's on the Radical Roots as well. But this is from Harvard-trained lawyer and all-around badass, Ellie Mastal, and he's on the Joy Reid show. And she's asking him because, it was Wajahat Ali, you had Lev Parnas, who's Ukrainian, you have Ellie Mastal, who's Black, but he has some Chinese ancestry in there too, and Joy Reid, who's a daughter of Jamaican immigrants. So you have a lot of people of marginalized groups who, of course, come from different perspectives. Lev Parnas was a part of the Trump administration. He went down. He said he was a part of the cult. I don't know how in and out he is, but he seems to be pretty well regarded. But this clip was where Joy Reid was asking him, so how do we get rid of them? And the Democrats aren't known to be strong. And I think Ellie's response is spot the hell on. And I think this is something we need to embrace. And don't be afraid to talk about it as like, yeah, this is what we got to do. If you want to live, if you don't want to have three holes in the head like a bowling ball. So check this out.
ICE agents can seemingly do anything they want, and no one is allowed to stop them. They know it, and they want us to know it. Given that, Ellie, how do we get rid of it? Because Democrats, as we know, are not the strongest people in the world, and they're not the toughest people in the world. And given the power of the Congress, let's say they somehow manage to win a rigged election and get back the House and Senate, I don't see them voting to abolish ICE.
Nope.
They're all going to fall back on their, we've got to, the pro-law enforcement people in our base, yada, 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 centrists. How do we get rid of ICE given that the Democrats are weak?
The Democrats are cowardly and feckless, and you're absolutely right that their instinct is not to abolish ICE. And as I was kind of saying in my piece, that's because terrorist paramilitary organizations have their uses to all sorts of leaders, even leaders on the left. The only way the Democrats will abolish ICE is if the people who support them demand that they do. And this is the crucial time to do that demanding, because this is the primary season. Yep. You know, in the mainstream media, in the Bari Weiss-led media, they'll never ask this question. But any Democrat asking for your vote, the first thing they should have to answer is whether or not they're going to abolish ICE. Amen. And the Democrats who say no, the Democrats who they don't get your vote in the primary. It is as simple as that. Do not vote for a Democrat who won't take a stand right now and say that they're going to abolish ICE. And there are a lot of them out there who won't take that stand. Don't vote for them. Every single person is running in some kind of primary where you got some kind of candidate who is going to be willing to say that, if for no other reason than they would like to win too. Do not vote for the cowards. It's as simple as that.
I mean, come on. What do you think about that? This is our final clip, but what's your take on that right there?
Amen. Like, I mean, it's yeah. The primaries, it's like like I said, we don't have a Roy Cooper. Like, we have some people running against him that are like I can't even I don't even know who the 3 or 4 people are running against him. They're not serious contenders, but there's other areas where there are progressive options, and I think that a lot of Democrats have a lot of who have historically been centrist. I even consider myself a moderate for many years. Yeah. Which, like, if I was a moderate then, I didn't move. I mean, I have moved a lot, but like, it offers nothing, right? It offers literally nothing, especially if you compromise or don't give any. If you give away, you're compromising from the middle. It doesn't make any sense, right? And so now is the time. I don't want to hear about people like Democrats haven't done anything for us. We've seen it. If we've given them a chance, we've given the Hakeem Jeffries and the Schumers, the party leaders, to actually give it a chance to do something. They say, well, Klobuchar's running and Slotkin saying that, like, they're not saying anything. They're literally not offering anything that looks like a viable way out of this.
Well, we just had Slotkin say we need ICE. ICE is literally a bunch of goons who cannot read, who cannot run, and they're trigger happy, and they can't pass the psyche valves. There was one guy that said that as they were on their way to a raid, he asked his supervisor, "Can I get the day off because I have to go to court for a gun charge?" This is who is in ICE, who is masked up, calling you a fucking bitch after they murder you. At a certain point, if I can't ask Roy Cooper, who was the Attorney General of North Carolina and I believe a 2-term governor, who is this hokey, I was sitting on a log and I used to sit there with I was as tall as the knee on a grasshopper. I don't give a shit. Are you willing to fight for me? Because if not, then that means I have to fight for myself. Yeah. And we have to kind of get over this celebritization of politicians and be like, you know what are you going to stand for? And then we did the side by side with Republicans, and they're all full of shit, but they at least have, I'm standing for this, and I'll try for these things, and if I fail, at least I tried. Democrats are just hoping that we're so mad at Republicans that we'll be like, well, but then when they get in office, they're not gonna fucking. And then when they still vote for ICE, well, so you didn't ask me to not vote for ICE. You just didn't want MAGA. You didn't ask me to vote for the Voting Rights Act. You didn't ask me to vote for Medicare for all. You just said you didn't want MAGA.
Yeah, yeah, anti-Trump ain't enough anymore. It ain't. He's gonna be dead in a couple years. Like, and so
couple months.
It happens like when this whole thing collapses, when all this collapses, I need people who are gonna build something. I need people with an imagination. I need people that wants to do something better than what we had before. We're not going back. Like, period. That's gone. No. You're gonna get the U.S. Department of Education back up. You're gonna get all these USA back up and just lickety splits. No, we're starting over. It's starting over from
a generational problem.
So they don't offer anything, and it's so easy easy to say ICE, abolish ICE. It's so easy to criticize ICE.
Just
You've reduced the standards. You've reduced the training to 6 weeks. This is an organization that is compromised. It has no integrity. You have people who are unqualified that are entrenched in it. You can't fix that. It's compromised. It's easy to just. It's an easy narrative, easy messaging. They can't even do that. And this is somebody who she was in the CIA. Like, this should be very easy to understand.
But you got to think that does make sense to me. The CIA is good at psychological ops, right? And to a degree, the Democratic Party is that within its current form, right? It is just not. The whole point of the Democratic Party is to make sure, or at least the establishment Dems, right? Because we do have the AOCs, the Ayanna Presleys, we have the Rashida Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars. Right, we have these people, but the point of the establishment Dems is to make sure the country does not move any more left. This is why they have no problem cozying up with the right. They all live. It's a very incestuous circle of folks. They all live in the same area. They have sex with each other. They're eating dinners with each other. But the folks that are outliers, they are. But this is, and I still have one more video. But this shit here, this is. No, you're good.
Sorry, I put up the wrong one.
Oh, okay.
You have one up. I'm gonna replace that.
Oh, but this.
All right, thank you. You'll make it back one way or the other. You're all going to do very well. I think really very well. Marco just gave me a note. Go back to Chevron. They wanted to
look at Marco Rubio's face. Marco Rubio's face was like, "You motherfucker," But this is who. Actually, it's wrong video. But the point is, you guys know. You guys didn't see it. Marco Rubio slid Donald Trump a note. During the meeting with the oil execs, and Donald Trump says, "Oh, look, Marco's handing me a note here. Let me go ahead and read this." And reads the damn note. So, like, he's a liability. He's a liability to MAGA. I mean, you got to think about it, right? Because they're like, "Oh, hey, Trump." Okay, hold on. Here, let me see. Please delete the file of me having sex with a 13-year-old. Thanks.
Well, they also said.
Thanks, Pam.
They also said that he wasn't supposed to say that he was going to run Venezuela. Like, they were all sitting there hearing that for the first time. Like, and so like, this guy is. Anyway,
he's reading the teleprompter, and this is why America's great. Turn left. he's reading the cues. Walk the tree. Yeah. Like, oh my god. But yeah, we gotta wrap this up.
I don't know if we're getting more clips in the repertoire, but I would leave it at what I'll leave it at is. I think I think people need to be real with where we're at and stop being in denial. I think, we've been pretty even keeled on this podcast of like having the right balance of warning, not being alarmist, but being real. And I think where we're at today is about where I expect. Like, nothing that's happening today is like that shocking to me. I think maybe the fact that we might go to war with Cuba, Canada, Greenland, Mexico, Colombia, Iran. I think that might be a little bit of a surprise. I didn't see that coming. They've been a little bit more honest with what their motives are. I mean, what happened to narco terrorism? What happened to the drugs of Venezuela? It
didn't work.
They're just like, we're here for the oil.
Right. It didn't work, to your point that when Dementia Don was like, no, we're there for the oil. It's like, well,
they were like, yeah, chill, dude. So anyway,
we called that, right? We said that. We said that narco terrorism was the new WMDs, right? So
and we've been there, we've done that, right? And so now I guess they don't even try to,
And I said that on the episode before, folks. It is scary when an empire no longer needs you to believe its lies.
Exactly, and so I'm gonna keep it a buck, right? Like, so if you are in this moment and you do not think that you might be locked up, that you might not be killed in the next, 10, 20 years, fighting for this, fighting for your life and your livelihood, fighting for your future, fighting for your kids, fighting for your grandkids. I don't think you're really in the one, you're either not in the fight, two, you're not affected, or you're not the most affected, and three, you're just not being real with the moment that we're in. So I would again highly recommend that people are understanding of how they can defend themselves, self-defense. There's no one that's coming here to save us.
Learn how to shoot. Yeah.
You can't rely on the police. Call the police. Especially if you're, as a Black person, as a Latino person, I calling the police would be like my last option. Like I would never call the police because I can end up dead, whether it was for my own protection or not, or something else. So training, gun training, concealed carry, training on how to actually use weapons. If you're not thinking about how you can communicate securely, right? I'm not talking about signal and Pete Hegseth style communication. I'm talking about having networks of burners, walkie-talkie. If you're not thinking about these things, then I don't think you're being real of where we're going with all of this. And I'm not going to have a training session here on this podcast, but
start doing the research.
You need to be thinking about
start doing the research, folks.
How do you grow your own stuff? How do you sustain your own life? How do you protect your family? How do you
self-sustainability?
How do you know how to get to XYZ in case something goes down? Because that's the reality we're living in. These people have basically said that they're going door to door. They've stated that they're pretty much telling us that they want this country to be an all-white country, white Christian country. They don't want women to actually hold jobs or positions of power. You see how they do the Marjorie Taylor Greens. You see how they do the Nancy, what's her name? Mace. As soon as they come into close to proximity, like actually having a power, they knock them down, right? So they don't even want Republican women having a power. They don't want. So when you talk about something like Handmaid's Tale, that's not hyperbole. That's very much in the deck. All of these things are very realistic. These aren't conspiracies. If you're thinking these things and they're like, I'm not being rational. Well, I would tell you that if you're not thinking about these things, you're not being rational. You're not planning ahead. So again,
let me just say this: that they expect us to be afraid, right? And the thing is, when I say they expect the whole Renee Good thing was a shot at white people. And at this comment here, history and her story can be empowering. Look at what Americans Standing Up have done in the past: civil rights, unions rights, women's rights, gay rights. Yes, we can do this too. I want to remind everybody, all of these were unpopular at the time. All of these had less than 10% of whichever demographic approving of it. Martin Luther King when he was alive, I just want to remind people who don't know this, had an approval rating of like 38% within the Black community. When he was alive within America writ large, he was called a communist. Right. And then less than 10% of Black people were a part of the civil rights movement. Now, granted, when you're also oppressed, you don't have full rights. You just try to survive. You don't got time to march every day. But that's when people understand that only probably less than 8% of women were a part of the women's rights movement. Gay rights, same thing. So I'm not trying to say don't have rose-colored glasses, but understand we have to start to say I'm going to be a part of that. And it's not about this rights or those rights. It's I'm standing for universal human rights, and I'm going to be so animated. The people in my life who don't follow politics, the people in my life who don't follow what's happening, they're going to be informed. They're going to follow me just because of my passion alone. When I talk about this stuff, they're going to be like, "Damn, I didn't know. Did you know that shit? Can I go tell that? Where's that source at? Where's that book? Where's that article? Where's that video?" That is how we build a coalition, because we don't need a singular leader, because when you have a singular leader, they can decapitate it. So what we need to do is build coalitions amongst different groups of people. You are the leader. You are someone that is a point of resource and a point of pride and a point of information for people in your community. These are concentric circles. It starts with you, then it's your family, then it's your town, then it's your community, and it just keeps going from there. But do not be afraid. They want us to be afraid. They want us to have our heads down. They want us to, I don't say nothing. There is nothing else left to lose. They are literally shooting white women in the heads. There is nothing else to lose. You better get comfortable being uncomfortable. And what that means is putting yourself in that situation. Because usually when people say that, they mean for someone else to be uncomfortable. It's time for you to be uncomfortable. It's time for all of us to do one more thing. Whatever your most extreme thing you've ever done, might have been a protest and there was police there. It's time to take that up one more notch. If the most thing you've ever done with political organizing was postcards, it's time to do one more thing above that, and so on and so forth. And it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy as we move forward. So,
Yeah, and slap the shit out your husbands too. Snap them to
please,
sleep.
white women, please slap white men.
What also one thing, like I'll leave it at, is that this 2026 midterms that people are, think that's going to get us out of this.
You can't vote.
You have to realize, and this man is now saying that they're going to impeach me, and the accountability that they're skirting, that they're, the Jonathan Rosses and the Pam Bondis and the Pete Hicks, the people who are committing these crimes, they're like, if they lose power and that there is a new Congress, and then in 2028 there's a new attorney general, there's a new president, that means that these people can end up in prison. So do you understand what's on the line for them, the lengths that they would go through to not go to jail? Do you see the lengths that Donald Trump has gone through to stay out of jail? So to think of that this is 2026 is just going to be some like hunky-dory, walk in the park, and I know no one really thinks that, but like, even if there is a win, that they're going to relinquish power in the next 3 years.
You had at CPAC, the same one where Nicki Minaj was out there and all that shit. That same CPAC, you had Steve Bannon on stage. What did he say? If we lose the midterms,
we're going to jail.
We're going to jail, and people in this room are going to jail. Right? Don't forget that shit. Like, these people understand this is all about power, and Ron brought up a good point. The Jonathan Rosses, these people serve in the interest of all this, right? There's people that it's not just people in the government. There's you always need a George Zimmerman. You always need a Derek Chauvin. You always need a Kyle Rittenhouse, and now you need a Jonathan Ross. You need these people who will met out violence on behalf of the state, on behalf of white male power. So we're going to keep talking about this, and we're well over time. Ram and I said we're going to be at an hour. We're at an hour 35, folks. Before we get out of here, Ram, any last words? Any words of wisdom? Anything that we can do for a call to action?
No, I think you did it. I think you talked about it. I think the community piece and to look out for each other, it continues to be important. And I'm not usually doom and gloom, but you need to start thinking. I'm a critical incident responder and planner. And I'm always thinking about disaster plans and things like that.
Good.
But I need people to be on the same page, right? Like, just like, this is a different world we're going into. This is a different world that we're in. So I'm not saying it to scare people. I'm not saying it just because I don't take it lightly.
Nope.
On a podcast, even, I'm not saying obviously I don't have a reach of 1 million people, but hey, it is what it is.
Folks, again, I'm going to do my bad capitalism here. Please make sure you support the Radical Cruise podcast. You see that QR code. This is how we stay independent, get the news to you, and we engage with you, right? We enjoy our platforms, and we want to make sure that we stay independent. No sort of influence from any sort of corporate overlord. So if you could just throw us a couple bucks and help us out, it allows our platform to continue. It allows us to talk directly to you. It was a very good chat tonight. Very, very lively. Folks came with some great ideas, and they're ready. People are ready. So please make sure that you do your part in helping us out with just a little bit. I know times is tough, but every little bit helps and goes a very long way. I am your of course, in our episodes during the week, the Roots Rundown, we're just kind of bite-sized episodes. I try to keep them around 30 minutes or so, around 11 o'clock on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Please tune in then if you can. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast show. Please make sure that you're a member, and we're going to make this thing grow, and we need you. And folks, we can do this. I love the positivity, and I think we can do this. And these folks are weak. So, folks, we will see you next time on Thursday, if Ram can do it. I know Ram's a busy guy, but if not, you'll see me on Thursday morning and Tuesday morning as well. Folks, we will see. My sign off. I am your co-host, Payron Baxter.
I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval. Thanks for everyone for joining. Thanks for being active in the chat. It's
great chat,
fun, and kind of keeps us
going.
Yeah, it keeps us going.
Bye. Ron don't know what to say. Bye.
Peace.